Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into the story of one of history's most complex, fascinating, and debated figures. We're looking at a man whose very name just immediately evokes immense power and sweeping conquests. But the reality of his rise? It's a true paradox. It's an underdog story, but on an absolutely unbelievable scale. So let's break down exactly how this happened.
Picture it, a vast, endless steppe. The wind is just howling across the golden grasslands of Mongolia. Horses are thundering across the earth. It's an environment that's as harsh as it is beautiful. And right there, beneath the sky with literally no borders, a young boy is born, named Temujin, a boy who is destined to completely redraw the map and change the course of history.
So it really begs the question, how on earth does a kid starting with absolutely nothing end up conquering the known world? You probably know him by his later title, Genghis Khan. But to get from those lonely grasslands to a global empire, we really have to look at the massive, overwhelming odds stacked against him right from day one.
Part 1. The Boy with Nothing.
Temujin's early life was, well, rough is an understatement. It was as far from royal privilege as you can possibly get. His dad, Yasuge, was a tribal leader, but he was poisoned by rivals when Temujin was just a kid. In that one moment, it triggered a total collapse for his family. They were literally abandoned by their own tribe, just cast out. Temujin, his mom Hoylin, and his brothers left completely alone on the brutal steppe to fend for themselves. They had zero army, zero wealth, no powerful allies. It was a daily, desperate fight just to survive the freezing winters and the constant threat of rival nomads.
And out there, cast aside by his own people, he learned a brutal but absolutely crucial lesson. Survival belonged solely to the strongest, period. And loyalty? Well, that was worth way more than blood. I mean, think about it. It was his own bloodline that had left him out there to die. That massive betrayal shaped his entire worldview. It forged this unshakable belief that you build alliances on trust and action, not just a fancy family name.
Which brings us to Part 2, Uniting the Steppe. Now, as Temujin grew up and started scraping together a following, fighting off rivals, he didn't play by the traditional rules. The old way on the steppe was all about bloodline. If you were from an elite family, you got the power. But Temujin's way, it was a total game changer. He completely tossed out aristocratic privilege. Instead, he rewarded loyalty, courage, and sheer ability. If you were good, you moved up. And slowly, this revolutionary merit-based system started drawing the scattered, fractured Mongolian tribes to him. They wanted a leader who cared about what they could actually do rather than who they happened to be born to.
All of that incredible momentum, all those rival tribes finally aligning under his new system of loyalty, it all culminated in one unbelievable year, 1206. This is the pivot point, the moment everything changed, not just for Mongolia, but for the world.
In 1206, the Mongol tribes held what's called a Kurultai, a massive great assembly. Try to picture the scale of this. You've got bitter rivals, desperate nomadic groups, warring clans, all coming together under the open sky to make a unified decision about their future as one single people.
And it's at this massive gathering that the boy who was once left for dead achieves the impossible. Temujin is officially proclaimed Genghis Khan, the supreme ruler of the Mongols. He went from a starving, isolated outcast to the undisputed leader of a highly unified, incredibly dangerous nation. It's a staggering achievement. But, as we know, he was just getting started.
Part 3. The Mongol War Machine.
With his homeland finally united, Genghis Khan turns his formidable sights outward. And this expansion happened with terrifying speed. The secret weapon? His mounted archers. These guys could travel enormous distances in practically no time at all. They would strike completely out of nowhere, unleash an absolute hail of arrows, and then, just as fast, vanish back into the landscape before the enemy even knew what hit them. It was a level of mobility, endurance, and tactical genius that the world had simply never seen before.
And because of these highly coordinated tactics, you see this massive domino effect across the continent. Huge, deeply entrenched kingdoms just start falling to the Mongol forces, first pushing into northern China, then driving relentlessly west into Central Asia, and they keep going straight into Persia. The Mongol Empire wasn't just winning standard military battles. They were swallowing territories whole, expanding across thousands and thousands of miles at a breathtaking cascading pace.
Part 4. Empire of Contradictions.
Now, to really understand his impact, we have to talk about the dual nature of his rule. It's a true paradox. On the one hand, his administration was surprisingly progressive. He established strict laws. He actively protected massive trade routes, effectively linking the East and the West. He even allowed religious tolerance within his empire, which was incredibly rare for the time. But on the other hand, we cannot gloss over the sheer brutality of his warfare. His conquests were devastatingly destructive. Cities that dared to resist faced total annihilation. Thousands upon thousands of people died. So he built this unparalleled connected empire, but he left an enormous trail of destruction to achieve it. Both things are true, and both totally define his historical footprint.
Part 5. The Khan's Enduring Legacy.
To really grasp the sheer scale of what he set in motion, just look at the timeline. He takes the supreme title in 1206. By the time he dies in 1227, the empire already covers a huge chunk of Asia. But the crazy part is, the story doesn't end when he dies. Decades later, his sons and descendants take that massive machine of empire he built, and they just keep going. They expand Mongol rule from Eastern Europe all the way to East Asia, forging the largest contiguous land empire in human history.
And the wild thing we keep coming back to is this. That boy who once had absolutely nothing, no dad, no tribe, no wealth, just stranded on a freezing steppe, he, quite literally, redrew the map of the world. His shadow stretched across the entire globe, reshaping cultures and borders and history itself forever. He flat out refused to remain powerless, and in the process, he altered the destiny of entire continents.
Today, Genghis Khan is still one of history's most intensely debated figures. To some, he's remembered as an innovative, visionary empire builder who bridged continents. To others, he's a ruthless conqueror who caused unimaginable suffering. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. Was he a brilliant empire builder or a ruthless conqueror? Or, honestly, is it the very fact that he was so absolutely both that makes him impossible to forget?